The evolutionary trajectories of primate brain size and cognitive function represent one of the most profound transformations in mammalian history. From the modestly endowed ancestors of early primates to the cognitively complex and neurologically sophisticated great apes and humans, the evolutionary narrative of brain expansion is inextricably tied to ecological challenges, social intricacies, and developmental shifts. What distinguishes primates from many other mammals is not merely their cranial volume, but the nuanced interplay between brain architecture, behavioral complexity, and environmental interaction. This documentary endeavors to explore the longitudinal pathways through which brain size and cognition evolved in primates, anchoring the discussion in fossil evidence, comparative neuroanatomy, behavioral studies, and ecological theory. The evolutionary origin of primates, dating back approximately 55 to 65 million years ago during the Paleocene and Eocene epochs, reveals an ancestral blueprint already characterized by enhanced sensory-motor integration and visual acuity. Early primates such as Plesiodapus and Adapiformes exhibit cranial features indicative of developing visual processing centers, particularly the expansion of the neocortex. Fossil endocasts, internal molds of cranial cavities, demonstrate that even early primates had larger relative brain sizes, measured by the encephalization quotient, or EQ, compared to contemporaneous mammals. These adaptations were likely responses to an arboreal lifestyle that required three-dimensional spatial navigation, depth perception, and motor coordination in complex forest canopies. Primates diverge from other mammals by increasingly relying on vision over olfaction. This shift, known as the visual predation hypothesis, suggests that selective pressure favored enhanced visual motor skills for nocturnal insect predation. The expansion of the visual cortex and the forward-facing eyes seen in primates like Neotharctus and later Egyptopithecus suggest the growing importance of stereoscopic vision, which would serve as a precursor to more complex perceptual and cognitive abilities. A central theme in primate brain evolution is the disproportionate enlargement of the neocortex, the outermost layer of the cerebral hemispheres responsible for higher-order cognitive processes. Comparative studies across extant primates reveal that neocortical surface area correlates strongly with social group size and ecological complexity. Macaques, capuchins, and chimpanzees all demonstrate increased cortical folding and regional specialization, particularly in the prefrontal cortex, or PFC, which is associated with planning, decision-making, inhibition control, and social reasoning. MRI-based neuroanatomical research by Rilling and Insel in 1999 demonstrated that the prefrontal cortex comprises a larger proportion of total brain volume in apes and humans than in other mammals. For instance, in macaques, the PFC makes up approximately 11% of the brain, while in chimpanzees it approaches 17%, and in humans it ranges from 29 to 35%. This expansion underpins a suite of cognitive capacities, including working memory, delayed gratification, and theory of mind, the ability to attribute mental states to others. Notably, capuchin monkeys, often referred to as the New World apes, exhibit convergent cognitive evolution. Though they are phylogenetically distant from apes, capuchins have developed complex tool-use behaviors and high EQs, illustrating that ecological and social challenges can drive brain expansion along independent evolutionary pathways. One of the most compelling explanations for cognitive expansion in primates is the Machiavellian intelligence or social brain hypothesis, which posits that the pressures of navigating dynamic social environments favored larger brains and more sophisticated cognitive abilities. In his pioneering work, Robin Dunbar in 1992 demonstrated a statistically significant relationship between neocortex ratio and group size among primates, arguing that maintaining alliances, recognizing kinship hierarchies, interpreting intentions, and engaging in reciprocal altruism place substantial demands on neural processing power. Chimpanzees or pan-troglodytes and bonobos or pan-paniscus, for instance, inhabit complex fission-fusion societies characterized by shifting alliances, hierarchical dominance, and subtle coalitionary politics. These species regularly display social cognition skills such as deception, reconciliation, empathy, and even cultural transmission of behavior. In Gombe, Tanzania, Jane Goodall documented how chimpanzees would engage in strategic grooming and alliance building before inter-community conflicts, suggesting foresight, and intentionality. Tool use among chimpanzees also provides strong evidence of cognitive sophistication. In the Thai forest of Côte d'Ivoire, chimpanzees fashion stone tools and wooden spears to access food resources such as nuts and bush babies. These behaviors are not instinctive but learned through social transmission, often requiring years of observation and practice, a hallmark of cumulative culture. While social dynamics have driven cognitive growth, dietary challenges have also exerted substantial evolutionary pressure. The ecological intelligence hypothesis posits that primates required enhanced cognitive abilities to locate, process, and remember the availability of dispersed and temporally variable food sources. Frugivorous primates, such as spider monkeys and orangutans, demonstrate especially high EQs due to their reliance on spatial memory and temporal foraging patterns. The brain's hippocampus, a structure involved in spatial navigation and memory, is notably enlarged in these species. A comparative study by Milton in 1981 showed that frugivorous primates must remember the locations of hundreds of fruit trees across vast territories and accurately time their foraging to coincide with fruiting cycles. Such cognitive demands likely selected for greater memory capacity and executive function. Orangutans, inhabiting the sparse forests of Borneo and Sumatra, travel long distances to forage on ephemeral fruit resources, necessitating route planning and long-term memory. Studies on orangutan cognition reveal tool use, deception, problem-solving, and even anticipatory thinking, all indicative of advanced cognitive processing enabled by large and complex brains. Another contributing factor to cognitive evolution in primates is the extension of developmental periods. Primate infants experience prolonged juvenile phases, during which they are highly dependent on caregivers and have extended opportunities for social learning. This extended development allows for the acquisition of complex behaviors and the gradual maturation of large brains. Comparative life history analyses show that primates with larger brains also have longer gestation periods, delayed weaning, and later sexual maturity. In humans, the extended childhood phase, lasting over a decade before full independence, is unmatched in the animal kingdom. This time is crucial for the development of language, culture, and advanced problem-solving abilities. Even in non-human primates, species like chimpanzees and orangutans remain dependent on maternal care for 5 to 7 years, during which they learn foraging skills, tool use, and social behaviors through observation and imitation. The neurological cost of such brain growth is high, but it is offset by the reproductive and survival advantages of enhanced learning. Among all primates, Homo sapiens represent the apex of encephalization. The average human brain is approximately 1,350 cubic centimeters, more than 3 times the size of the average chimpanzee brain. Importantly, it is not just size but complexity that matters. Human brains exhibit unprecedented cortical folding, a highly developed prefrontal cortex, and specialized regions for language, such as Broca's and Wernicke's areas. The fossil record reveals a steady trajectory of cranial expansion within the hominin lineage. Early hominins such as Australopithecus afarensis had cranial capacities around 400 to 500 cubic centimeters, comparable to modern chimpanzees. By the time of Homo habilis, cranial volume had increased to around 600 to 750 cubic centimeters, alongside the emergence of rudimentary stone tools. Oldowan technology. Homo erectus showed even greater expansion, averaging 900 cubic centimeters, and developed more sophisticated Acheulean tools, harnessed fire, and migrated across continents. Neanderthals, a sister species to modern humans, had brain volumes comparable to or even exceeding ours, with averages around 1,450 cubic centimeters. Yet their brain structure differed, with less emphasis on the frontal lobes and more development in visual and sensorimotor areas. This suggests divergent cognitive specializations, with modern humans perhaps favoring abstract reasoning, social cohesion, and symbolic communication, skills foundational to language and culture. The emergence of symbolic behavior around 70,000 years ago marked a cognitive watershed. Archaeological evidence from sites like Blombos Cave in South Africa reveals engraved ochre, shell beads, and bone tools, signaling the advent of symbolic thought, ritual, and perhaps early religion. These milestones coincide with the expansion of syntactic language and recursive thinking, abilities that require the coordination of multiple neural circuits and underscore the apex of primate cognitive evolution. One of the defining features of advanced primate cognition, particularly in humans, and to some extent in chimpanzees and orangutans, is the ability to transmit knowledge culturally across generations. While animal traditions exist across the mammalian and avian world, the cumulative nature of human culture is unique. It allows not only the passing on of knowledge, but its continual refinement and innovation over time. Chimpanzees in different regions exhibit distinct cultural repertoires. For example, the nut-cracking techniques in the Thai forest differ markedly from those used in Bossou, Guinea, despite genetic similarities among the populations. These techniques are taught by older individuals to younger ones through scaffolding, demonstration, and emulation. In orangutans, tool use and nest-building styles differ between Bornean and Sumatran populations, indicating localized knowledge transmission. In humans, this principle of cumulative culture exploded with the development of language and teaching. The ability to convey abstract concepts, give detailed instructions, and engage in cooperative learning transformed the cognitive landscape, enabling innovations from agriculture to quantum physics. This process is mirrored in the neural architecture, with enhanced connectivity between the temporal, parietal, and frontal lobes, facilitating integration of sensory, linguistic, and executive functions. The evolutionary story of primate cognition is not only a tale of brains and behavior, but also one of genes. Comparative genomics between humans and other primates has identified several key genes implicated in brain development. The gene RGAP11B, for instance, is found only in humans and appears to promote the proliferation of basal progenitor cells in the neocortex, leading to increased cortical folding. Another gene, FOXP2, is associated with language and vocal learning. While both humans and chimpanzees possess this gene, the human variant has undergone key mutations that affect neural plasticity and motor control relevant to speech. Knockout studies in mice and songbirds show that FOXP2 disruptions impair vocal learning and neural development in language-related brain regions. Furthermore, the SRGP2 gene family, which underwent duplications only in the human lineage, may be responsible for enhancing synaptic density and delaying neuronal maturation, mechanisms thought to underpin the longer developmental period and extended plasticity characteristic of human cognition. The evolution of primate brain size and cognition is not the product of a singular force, but rather a mosaic of interwoven pressures, ecological demands, social complexities, developmental constraints, and genetic innovations. It is a story marked by convergences and divergences, where different species found unique solutions to environmental and social challenges. From the first primates leaping through the Eocene canopy to modern humans deciphering the secrets of the universe, this evolutionary journey reveals the profound capacity of natural selection to shape the architecture of thought. Through fossil evidence field observations, neuroanatomical studies, and genetic insights, we continue to unravel the intricacies of this remarkable trajectory. In understanding how primate brains grew, reorganized, and adapted across millennia, we gain not only a scientific account of our origins, but also a deeper appreciation for the cognitive continuum that links us to our primate cousins. The evolutionary legacy of brain expansion is not just a tale of size, but a chronicle of minds shaped by the challenges and promises of an ever-changing world.